incoming border czar and Governor Greg Abbott tomorrow in Eagle Pass. Lieutenant Olivares, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want to ask you about what Bill Melugin was just reporting about the 200 migrants that showed up at the border, 60 of them young, unaccompanied minors. You know, just last week, Brian, we were talking about a caravan of migrants that were lining up in Mexico trying to come in. You know, as we're waiting to see this transition take effect, I'm curious, can you tell us what it's like on the ground? Are the coyotes and the smugglers getting more aggressive at this moment, trying to get people across the border in Texas?
Well, Lydia, Brian, good evening. Great to be with you. So, just first off, by seeing that video, it's a very powerful video, seeing that 2-year-old little girl, just talking about, where she's from, how old she is and where she was going or who she's trying to locate, which is her mother. That's the type of, situations that we see every single day on the border, especially when we talk about unaccompanied children. Sunday morning was the highest number of unaccompanied children we have ever experienced as far as a state police agency, 60 unaccompanied children and minors that came across all at once. And this has become, a continuing situation on the border when we talk about children. Now, of course, the cartels and criminal smuggling networks in Mexico, they're going to become more desperate. They're going to want to, change and adapt to what the policies are going to be in 2025 and so on. So they're going to adapt. They're going to try to get more people across that border by any means whatsoever, because that is their profit. That's how they make majority of their money. In the last 2.5 years, criminal networks in Mexico, have turned human smuggling and trafficking into a multi-billion-dollar network. So they are going to adapt to what we do, and that's why we always have to be one step ahead.
Right.
And it's reassuring to knowing that we have strong leadership now moving forward. And as Governor Abbott mentioned, now we have an ally as opposed to having an adversary with the federal government that's going to help us support what we've been doing on the border for the last 4 years now.
Yeah, I mean, we said you have a new sheriff in town. Tom Homan is definitely a new sheriff. So instead of the federal government being sort of an adversary, they're going to be a partner with you. Talk about how that makes you more effective. How does it change what you do to better secure the border?
Well, it's going to be very effective. We've been doing this, at the state level for the last 4 years. It's a multi-billion-dollar Operation Lone Star when Governor Abbott first launched this back in March of 2021. Deploying thousands of National Guard soldiers, state police, as well as out-of-state resources that we've had help with, but also, building and constructing border wall, putting barriers in the river with the water buoys, physical barriers along the river, and every step of the way, we've been challenged, we've been criticized, and we've been, as far as legal battles from our own federal government trying to stop us from securing the state. But now that we have an ally with the federal government and also with Tom Homan, being the border czar, we can reassure now that we're going to have support as far as what we're doing moving forward, and also continue to work with our federal partners as we try to secure the border as much as possible.
Lieutenant, we are hearing a lot of talk from local leaders, mayors of cities that are sanctuary cities or have designated themselves as such. The mayor of Denver is being very public, saying he's not going to go along with Trump's immigration policies. And we're hearing from Senator Rand Paul. He's from Kentucky. He's got a message for mayors like the mayor of Denver. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history and really, I think, will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law.
How hard does it make your job on the ground if you have mayors of cities across the country still designating themselves as sanctuary cities and offering safe harbor to illegal migrants?
Well, it makes it very difficult. And that's why, some of these sanctuary cities and states, if they are saying that they're not going to cooperate with the federal government moving forward and trying to locate criminals, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about criminals. Illegal immigrants that are in the country right now that have orders of removal to be deported because they already had due process. They need to be removed. And those that have committed crimes. I don't see how that can be an argument with anybody, regardless of political views. The fact of the matter is, majority of these elected officials, especially in these sanctuary cities and states, they should take the interests of their people in their state, over as far as illegal immigrants that have committed crimes. They want to ensure the safety and security of the state or their cities. They should cooperate with the federal government moving forward. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to locate those bad actors we've been talking about, the gotaways, those that have committed crimes, that we don't see tragedies that have taken place throughout the country, like Laken Riley and so many others. That's what we're talking about. So I don't see how anybody can be opposed to wanting to work with the government and trying to locate, these bad actors, these criminals that should be removed.
Sounds reasonable to me. Lieutenant Chris Olivares, good to see you today. Thanks for sharing your perspective.
Likewise, thank you.